Hello, you're welcome to another episode of Tea or Coffee on High Impact Television. Tea or Coffee is a program lined up for you, prepared for you, just so that you can learn, be informed, and also be educated and definitely be entertained. Today is no exception, and we have a lot of things lined up. My name is Ronke Ashiru, and
my name is Mudukwe Jacobs.
All right, Wadukwe, how are you this morning?
I'm fine.
You look fabulous.
You too. Thank you.
Guess the work of the makeup artist.
Yes.
And also me, definitely.
Yeah, I agree.
So how have you been? How was yesterday?
Yesterday was good. I was able to sleep well. Let me emphasize on well.
Nice, nice.
Yes,
nice.
so I woke up stronger, better.
All right.
Yes,
So
how was your night?
Lovely. I slept well.
Okay.
Just like when I woke up with all the energy. Yes, I'm back.
You ready for the show today?
I'm ready. I'm really ready today. All right. What do we have today?
Okay, so today we'll be talking about parenting, focusing on babies and toddlers.
All right.
Yes.
And like a lot of people say that parenting is the hardest job.
Yes,
So we need to give it to our stay-at-home mom and dad. But before we start talking, because it's one of the subjects I love so much. I love children.
Same here.
But we have experts in the house. So we'll go on a break now. And when we come back, we'll introduce our experts that will be talking about parenting babies and toddlers. Stay tuned. Experience the excitement at High Impact Planet Amusement Park and Resort. Our state-of-art facility offers amazing outdoor rides, playhouses, indoor games, and dining facilities. Thrill your student with a lifetime memorable excursion trip. High Impact Planet. Fun just got real.
Welcome back. You're still on to Tea or Coffee on High Impact TV. And yes, before we went on that break, we said today we're going to be talking about parenting babies and toddlers. So we have our first guest today. Yes. Her name is Mrs. Olufunto Anekwe.
The lady with the beautiful hair.
Thank
Good morning, ma'am.
Welcome.
You're welcome.
Good morning.
For the benefit, Mrs. Olufunto is the founder of Rise Shine Family Life and Development Center.
Right.
So what is that center? What's it for?
Okay. Essentially, we do three things there.
Yeah.
I have a prayer ministry called the Prayer Closet.
Okay.
And then we have Titus 2:4 Women's Marriage Mentoring Network.
Okay.
We have 4 chapters in Lagos, 1 in Jos. We have an outpost in Kigali, Rwanda, and 2 in Maryland in the United States.
All right. Okay.
Right? And then I teach faith-based counseling. I certify faith-based counselors for churches, for Christian ministries. And I work with the International Institute of Faith-Based Counseling in Beaumont, Texas.
All right.
Right.
So how long has the foundation been in existence?
Okay, as just 2015 actually.
All right.
Before that, I was in the U.S. All the time. So once I came back here as a missionary actually. So I work with various organizations and so on.
Oh, as a missionary.
I came
And then you
as a
fell in love
missionary.
with the country and decided to stay.
I'm one leg here, one leg there.
Oh, all right.
Yes.
Okay. So our topic for today is parenting children and toddlers.
It's a good one.
Okay. How do you think that, is there a straitjacketed way of taking care of children, babies?
I'm not going to say a straight-jacketed way, but I'm going to say parenting must be intentional. I mean, parenting is like your garden. You just can't say anything goes in my garden. No, it's got to be intentional. You've got to know when to cut it. You've got to know what exactly you're planting, and so on. So parents cannot just throw the children out there. They must look at, little toddlers they're dependent. That's the key thing. So they need somebody who really cares for them.
Yeah.
So as parents, you must be sure of what kind of care your child is getting behind your back. Mark you, that child can't complain. Can't come home and say, my nanny drank my milk, for instance. And that we've known to happen, Or this nanny was beating me when you were away.
Wow.
So it must be intentional. You must know who you're handing that baby over to. And then toddlers, they are very highly opinionated. Within days, they begin to decide whether you love them or not.
Okay.
So here we go. The circumstances of the birth of a child must not be allowed to affect the love for that child. And that's a very major issue.
Yes.
Okay. And then, at that age, they're very self-centered. So discipline must start early in life. If you think they're just going to, learn just by what they see, no, you must put the rules down. You must put your foot down. You must help them. So 3 things. They're very dependent. They need love. They need care. Secondly, you need to make sure that you are disciplining them early in life. You don't want them, for instance, to get glued to the TV and so on. You want them to be very creative. And so you must fend for them. And you must let them know they are loved.
All right.
Okay. So, what are the signs that parents should look out for while raising toddlers? The signs.
Okay. Not so much the signs, as much as the parents themselves making every effort to be sure that what they want to put into this child is really what the child is getting. When it comes to signs, you want to work with your doctor. Be sure that this child is getting the right nourishment, and that whatever you're leaving behind at home is not actually going to that support you left at home while going for your busy job, right? So you want to be sure that the child's getting the proper nutrient. And a lot of parents really are not paying attention to their children. They're so busy with their own lives, trying to make ends meet, trying to make sure, they're on with their goals and so on in life. So, and then children will be clingy. Sometimes it's a sign that they're happy to have you home because they're not happy with what's going on behind your back.
All right.
Again, you want to be sure that this child is learning the basics of sharing, of loving, of saying thank you, from the minute they can talk, right?
All right. So, what do you say to a parent, or maybe the parents, who goes out very early in the morning,
Right.
and comes back at night?
Okay.
Is there a way such parents can still find a way to train the child in the way, it's because most of the parents, when they know that they are the kind of people that actually go in the morning and come at night, anything the child wants,
Right.
they will give it to.
They will, yes.
Because they feel the guilt. They don't want the child to have it in the
Right.
mind that, oh, mom that I see maybe once in a week, and then she
Right.
doesn't give me sweets when I
Right.
asked. So,
That's really called overcompensation.
all right.
So the fact that you're feeling guilty should not make you give the child everything that child wants,
All right.
right? So yes, I have to be on this job. You want to ask yourself, should I leave that child at home or take the child to a daycare? Now, a group daycare is still better, according to me,
Okay.
than leaving the child at home.
Why did he say that?
Well, we've had too many incidents of maltreatment of children.
Yes.
and malnourishment too.
Okay.
You have to take care of your house maid. If you're leaving a child with your maid or your relation, because if you maltreat that person and your baby happens to be in the person's hand, they probably will take it out on the baby in your
Sort of
absence.
aggression.
Right. But if you take the child to a group daycare, you're still safer. You think it's more economical. That's what most parents think. It's more economical to get a relation in and so on. Some will sexually molest the children. Unfortunately, this is the reality of life. So you come back. The first thing when you come back, pick up that child, play with the child, laugh and hug this child. Let your baby know or your little one that I love you, I missed you.
No matter how tired you
No
are.
matter how tired you are, put your tiredness aside. I mean, children really don't demand too much. If you spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes playing with that child, the child forgives you for all the time you've been away. But don't neglect the child. Just don't come back and I'm too tired. Is he sleeping? Okay. No, even if the child is sleeping, you can wake him up. You can wake him up if it's a child who has, who's a toddler with his own bed or so. Hey, get on the bed and tickle the child and so on, And mommy missed you, mommy loves you, and so on and so forth. Or daddy loves you. But do that. Let the child know that he or she is loved. That's very important. Very important.
Okay, I want to ask. In trying to discipline a toddler, sometimes they might do some things that you just want to spank a little. Is it advisable to just a little, or just
A
to
little
talk
tap.
to them? A little tap.
Yes, as long as you are not killing a fly with a sledgehammer.
Hammer. Yes.
Okay.
Now, so you don't brutalize the child because you're tired. You don't slap a child.
And that's what happens
because
most of
you're
the time.
angry. So don't take it out on the child. This little thing, this little child is pull the cloth off the coffee table. Everything is come down. Doesn't mean the child has to weep and cry and so on. No. Don't do that again. And give it a gentle spank or something so that the child knows straight away this is not allowed. Okay? But you have to keep repeating yourself.
Yeah, because I'm wondering what if the child don't do that again and the child just shrugs off and goes to another place.
Okay?
He leaves the coffee table that he's messed up.
Pick up the child and put him in his seat and fasten him down.
Okay.
Time out.
Time out.
Anytime you do this, or you're going in your playpen, so your child recognizes that
Naughty corner.
you've done what you're not supposed to do. So discipline must be there. Yes, it's a must.
All right. Okay, we've been talking with Mrs. Olufonso Anekwe, the founder at Rise Shine Family Life and Development Center, and we'll be learning so much from her. Okay, let me ask before we go on break. Is there a time, does it have a particular age when you start training a child?
From birth.
From birth.
From birth. You start saying no, 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 stop.
Right.
Good. All that adds up. If you're saying good, that's affirmation. You're smiling at the child, good. Then the child knows that, okay, whatever I did right now, I can do again.
Okay.
I can do again. But most importantly is that the circumstances under which you had your child must not be allowed to affect that child negatively.
Okay.
Okay. You already had too many children at home, too many mouths to feed, and here comes the next one. Don't take it out on the child. From the word go, let this child know you are a gift of God. I love you. you know. Or I say to parents, if your little child comes home pregnant and has a child, that child is your grandchild.
A child giving birth to another child.
As unfortunate as it is, annoying, disgraceful, name it all. But that little one, you must be loved. You must acknowledge that this is my blood and love the child. I've seen grandparents who don't even let their friends know that that one you see in my house is my grandchild. And we mustn't do that. We must not do that.
What are the effects of that to the child?
It goes a long way in life. You have people who have this rejection problem from childhood.
Right.
And no matter, and it's very hard to break it in life. As they grow older, they just become so depressed. You're wondering why. They're not adjusting to their social levels in life. They can't interact with other children in school, and so on and so forth, because they've not felt loved or wanted. And that's very common.
All right, okay, thank you very much, ma'am. All right, we'll go on a break now, and when we come back, we have another guest in the house also that we'll introduce to you. Don't go anywhere.
Walking into comfort in a safe environment is every family's dream. At High Impact Planet Resort, our fully furnished service apartment is a home away from home. Amazing views right in your luxurious world. Work out to keep fit for an amazing body at the gym. Get affordable groceries and personal care items at the supermarket. Feel relaxed and beautify yourself at the fully equipped spa. High Impact Planet. Fun just got real. Walking into comfort in a safe environment is every family's dream. At High Impact Planet Resort, our fully furnished service apartment is a home away from home. Amazing views right in your luxurious world. Work out to keep fit for an amazing body at the gym. Get affordable groceries and personal care items at the supermarket. Feel relaxed and beautify yourself at the fully equipped spa. High Impact Planet. Fun just got real.
Welcome back. This is still Tea or Coffee if you're just tuning in, and we've been talking about parenting, toddlers, and babies. We've been talking with Mrs. Olufunso Anekwe, founder at Rise Shine Family Life and Development Center. And right now we have with us, joining us in the studio, is the trained Montessori teacher. She's a columnist of the title, the counselor, and also she's a trained life coach. Welcome, Mrs. Adebimpe Onwuchekwa.
Thank you.
Welcome, ma.
Funny enough, the two of you have Yoruba first name and Igbo second name. What is it about Igbo men those days?
I think they are more available for the adventure.
Yes, because definitely Yoruba people, we are, Yoruba ladies.
They're adventurous.
Adventurous. You're not talking.
I'm going to say it's the grace of God
All right.
all the way. There are bad examples on all sides of all fronts. And
Yeah.
at the same time, they're wonderful experiences.
Yes.
And I want to thank the Lord that I've had 38 beautiful years. And I'm sure talking to Mrs. Omunchekwa, I know she's had it good. Bless
Very,
the Lord.
very well.
All right. Now, back to the topic we're talking about.
Right.
Parenting babies and toddlers. You've been a Montessori teacher and you're a trained engineer, right? Engineer by profession, civil or
Electrical electronics.
electronics engineer, and you decided to go into teaching. All right. So, what are the things that you've learned that you realize that parents should do when it comes to training their babies and toddlers?
The first passion, what drove me into that training of becoming a Montessori teacher, was the fact that I saw the need for us to understand what these babies are, what their desires, their needs, how we can, get to them. It is when you understand the intricacies of the formation of something that you can actually be able to assess what that person holds. You understand? So for me, I looked at it like, instead of just studying off, looking at the textbooks or, I decided I want to really understand them. And whatever there is that can put me through, I was going to go through with it. So when I needed to make a choice of, was I going to be talking about just the grown-ups or the younger ones, I chose that particular area of the toddlers, which is 0 to 4. That's the way it was sectionized. So the area that I see as being exciting and interesting is these babies. Because with the Montessori training, we were told that babies start to understand you from the womb. So from the womb, you are able to put some things into the child, even from there. So for us that are, for those of us that are Christians, we have an idea of this and we're able to maximize it. So you start praying for the baby, you start reading and saying things that are prophetic into the life of the baby from the womb. So when the child comes out, it's like a continuation, something that you have gotten yourself used to, even though maybe you are not even aware of the sex yet, or you are not even interested in knowing the sex. So you are putting something through. So for me, babies are different because it is what you put into them. They're a clean,
Tabula rasa.
yes, anything you put there is what you get eventually. So it's easier to build on something. It's like if you have a fallow land, you just want to build something. You can decide to build whatever.
You can turn it to farm. You can
Anything.
build
You can just decide whatever.
skyscraper.
You can say skyscraper. You can. So it's easier than if someone gives you a house that is bungalow or upstairs already. They have roofed it in a way that they are not planning for you to put something on it, and you want to just go there and do something. You understand? It's not as easy as if you were given a fallow land to work on. So I like them because whatever you put there, you get.
Yeah, so how do you train?
Yes, to
Babies
trace
like
them. You now, with this awareness, you now put it on the track of order. When you know what you want to put in, then you learn the sequence. You put a sequence to it. What do I put there first? What is next? There's an hierarchy to things. Which one first? Which one next? Then after that, you then become a view of child-centered perspective. You have to be able to say, this is what I'm doing because of this. So it is not, you are not, your own side of the story is left untalked about. What you're thinking about is that baby, that child. That is why we say, okay, there is a 3 months leave for the mother or whatever. Then after that, as you decide which school they want to go, which nursery school or daycare or whatever, you have to be able to see that they have the necessary amenities, necessary teaching
what?
kits, and so these are the things that will buttress and take.
No, what I'm saying, if I don't know the necessary things to put in place, how would I
Okay.
know if I'm doing the right thing?
Or in fact, what we
Exactly.
see is this overcompensation. The fact that you've got money does not necessarily mean that
That
you buy
you have
the world
everything.
Exactly.
for the kid. And you have kids who don't have, their values have been skewed from the word go, because they've got all these loads of toys. Some smash them, break them, but you keep buying more. Grandma buys, grandpa buys, uncles and aunties buy, and the whole house is littered.
Float.
They don't even know how to pick up their toys.
That reminds me, I have a friend. We were talking one day, and I don't know, there was a new tab
Right.
that she said, "Oh, I got from Marlon. I forgot. I guess the name of the son is Marlon. That he spotted the same day." She's not Nigerian, and I was like, "Really?" He said he threw it down the toilet. So what did you do? I told him that, "See, Marlon, you spoiled the tab now. You won't have any tab to play with." I said, "That's all?" I'm thinking, "That's all?" So I really don't know. And eventually, by the time, okay, she was actually saying that tab was the second one he'll be buying for the
Right.
boy in a month. So in other words, 2 or 3 days later, she bought another
Usually
one.
when you
So
have
is
those,
that the right way? Because
Usually.
you have the money?
usually when you have those kind of children, you from scratch, if you have learned to know your child, you get to know a destructive child early. And immediately you discover that, then you know what you are nibbing at the bud. Because they exhibit all these things early. It's just that we don't pay attention. Giving an example, my son, at a very young age, was so antisocial. It was so vividly obvious. And with that, I learned it early. From the time he would just sit, he wasn't really walking yet, he would just sit in front of anybody coming in, he's not noticing. So you notice all these things and you nib it. So I had to be able to talk to him. We are here for you. We need your attention. You need my attention. You cannot just come to me and collect your food without asking questions. Do you get what I'm saying? So that interrelation has to be there. So all these things you are saying, this being destructive, you'll see it in the child early. So you nib it at the bud by letting the child know the value of things, the value to it. You need to let them know the gravity and the consequences of what they do.
Right.
They need to learn it.
All right. I need to put the next question to you. You go to a supermarket with a child,
Right.
and then the child wants maybe the latest Barbie doll, and you say to the child, "Wait, maybe by Christmas or something," and the child starts to scream, rolling on the floor, starts to roll on the floor,
Right.
throwing tantrums. What are you supposed to do at that particular time?
I would just take my child to the car and give my child a little bit of spanking. And no, you don't behave that way. Mommy will get you what you need when mommy can afford it. No. So you have to put your foot down. The fact that the child is misbehaving, throwing a tantrum, does not mean that the child will be given what he wants, right? No, we have to be able to put our foot down. Saying no and helping the children to understand that there's something called no early in life is so important. Also, who's in charge?
Exactly.
You or your parent.
All right.
And a strong-willed child will try and seize control from the word go. So that child, you'll have to keep at it till the child understands that
It's a constant thing.
mom is not about to give way, you know.
All right. Okay.
Okay, so I want to ask, from all what we've been discussing, we can see that the time spent with toddlers are very important. Time spent with them to communicate with them. The key word there is communication. Now, for career women that go to work very early in the morning, come back late at night, and they probably have caregivers at home that take care of their children, how do they fill in that gap? Yeah, please.
Okay. It's easy and it's difficult, depending on how you want to see it. If you are not good at communicating, there's no way you can even communicate with the caregiver what you want. So I think the communication comes in so early on you as a mother or a father to understand the fact that everything you want before even you start having those children, they have to have a list and an itinerary of how the standards, the moral values, the cultural values, the societal values that you want to inculcate, and you have an idea of how you plan to inculcate them. So it means at the interview of a nanny or a caregiver, you have an idea of what you are expecting. So you sit them down and you kind of ask questions on how they intend to handle these excesses, this outrage or tantrums being played by your child. Having known your child a little while, at least for some months before you start bringing in somebody, or if the person had been there for the older one, this time around you have an idea that, oh, this child is exhibiting some traits that are different from that first one that is so calmly disposed. So at this point, you have to be able to get your values across to your caregiver.
I'm so glad you touched on that, because parents make the mistake of thinking that this other person who was raised differently from them would necessarily understand how they want their child to be brought up. Parents cannot be tired of explaining, going over, training this caregiver. This caregiver has been brought up in a very harsh environment where if a child does anything wrong, you smack the child. Even when you are not there, they will smack that child. But
And
if you begin to explain,
wicked.
yes,
that's just
but
what
that's
they
the
know.
way they were brought up, and they're trying to help you train your child, and that's not the way you intend for your child to be trained. And if you're not nice to them, they will also take it out on your child behind your back, So you can't afford as a parent to get tired of coaching them, of explaining to them, of showing them the better way.
All right. Okay. In a situation where, most of those children that you talked about, that they always want to be in control. Okay, let's say a child wants a cup of tea and mom says no, and it goes to dad. And dad says...
and dad have to be on the same page.
Yes.
Look, there will be issues of what school does this child go to? Maybe mom saying, oh, well, I want this child in such and such a school because that's where my friends send their children. Or that's where people of our social class or whatever should send their children. But dad is maybe looking at the finances and saying, listen, we want to be able to save money for this many other things in our lives. And before you know it, or we shouldn't raise the children like this. Before you know it, a woman could decide that, well, I've got the money, it's my whatever, I'll send my child. No, it's not my child, it's our child, right? They need to be able to be on the same page. In terms of discipline, if the dad was disciplined harshly as a child,
Yes.
they need to discuss this. How are we going to discipline our children? Are we going to get whips from the word go? Or is talking going to be enough? And are we going to discipline them by depriving them of certain things? Or how? A lot of children are now glued to the TV from very early age. We have tablets for them. Even if the tablet is teaching the wrongest thing, And I've seen this with my grandson. I put him on one of this, recommended YouTube
Yes.
stations,
Yeah.
which was in it. This little boy stole, and they were, laughing, and he stole and stole, and that was the end of it. There was no reprimand. There was no "don't do it again." And I decided that no, not that station. So we have all these ones that are talking about beautiful witch,
Of course.
and we
Definitely.
expose our children to that. So
Vampires,
dad and
beautiful
mom must decide, this is how we want this child raised. They must stay on the same page. Not that the child knows, who to go
Dad
to.
says no, mom will say yes.
Yes, we've got to be
and
careful.
they play on it.
They play it.
They're
bet.
perfect politicians.
They play on it. I believe that on that kind of view of parents coming together, it depends on how they see it. If they see it like the lives of their children depends on their oneness, then they will know what it takes to actually resolve issues in the room. Even when they have not talked about a particular aspect before, they've never really thought about it occurring. So in this case, it just happened, and they found themselves having different perspectives about it. I believe they need to, one has to go down for the other at that instant, so that when they get back to the room, they get to trash it and come up with a resolution of this is how we're going to be handling this kind of situations whenever it occurs again. So I believe it's a continuous planning,
Okay,
thing.
raising children is a continuous planning thing. You tend to get better
By
next
the day.
time. By next day. All right. Thank you very much for coming on today's episode of Tea or Coffee. Do you have anything you want to say to young mothers that are trying to find the way to do things briefly?
Well, for me, I say love your child.
All right.
Irrespective of the circumstances. You are angry with the person that you have the child for, still love the child. Whatever happened, love that child. Every child is a gift from God.
Every child is a gift from God.
Right.
Thank you very much. Okay.
I would want to say respect your child.
All right.
Respect your child's needs. Respect your child's emotions. Respect your child is intelligent. And allow the best that God has put there to be explored and used for the society.
Respects the child, basically. All right. Thank you so much for coming. We've been speaking with Mrs. Olufunso Anekwe, founder of Rise Shine Family Life and Development, and she's also a faith-based counselor, and also with Mrs. Adebimpe Onwuchekwa. You can say Mrs. Bimpe Chekwas. A Montessori teacher, a columnist, and also a life coach. So thank you very much for coming once again. All right, till next time. Oh, that's tomorrow. Tomorrow. I really don't want us to go, but we just have to
Very
go right now because the topic is very interesting and I'm very passionate about it. Okay, till tomorrow when we come your way again on Tea or Coffee. I'm Ronke Ashiru.
And I am Modupe Jacobs.
Modupe.
Modupe.
Modupe. All right, thank you.